Like
Let's talk about it.
we're looking at this team. We don't know what to make of them. They're 9-11 through the first 20. We're all disappointed that they're 9-11 through the first 20. They get 5 or 4 days off between the last game to this. They get eliminated from the in-season tournament where they're like, okay, we need a little break. That game on Saturday sucked. Let's see them come out and just stomp the Portland Trailblazers. That's not what happened at all. Frustrating. If anything, frustrating to watch Jonathan Kuminga get DMP'd the first half of the game, them look old as hell the whole way through. They play him in the second half. You know, if you're a fan of Sleepy Steve, you'll say that was genius coaching because that was Kuminga's best stretch of basketball of the season. Is that a hot take, or do you disagree with me? I think that was the best he's played overall. But like going into it, it was just kind of like it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating to watch this team. You know what my take away from this game is? Let me zone this back in, then we can get all the way to it. This team is still dependent on Steph or Draymond to provide the energy. Now, Steph's a superstar. Draymond's a star. Those guys are Hall of Famers the first way through, but they're dependent on them to bring the role player energy to get it going most nights. I'm thinking about that stretch in, was it the second or the third quarter where Steph's just lighting everyone up like, yeah, let's get into it, getting the crowd going. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know, it's not a good sign for a team when your best player has to be the one doing that the whole way through. Plug your mic in.
Am I good?
Yeah.
You know, I think that my bad. Sorry. I think I agree with all of that. I think one thing too, because it is, you know, everybody's kind of saying like, is that what we need? Is Steph need to go nuclear for this team to still be down 4 going into the fourth quarter? That's super rough. The process of this game was also the same as every other game that we watched, right? They won this game, but didn't this game just feel like every other game? Like they made no changes. You just said it. They come out of a 4-day off, 3-4 day off, and they look exactly the same. Honestly, they look worse. They look worse than they did when they played LA, than they played some of these other teams a week ago. How do they look worse, Sam? How do they look worse? And to me, it just goes to right back to your point. Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins back today, and neither of them brought anything to the table. Anything. They were both slow. They were out of shape. They were out of rhythm. They made this team look bad. They were terrible the entire way through. The only reason, and Sleepy Steve did a good job benching Chris Paul down the stretch tonight because Sleepy Steve had a quote about how Chris Paul has to close games. Ridiculous. But the guys that bring the energy, I think, is like Pajemski. He brings the energy, but he's not good enough, right, to like do that on a daily. It's hard when you're him to bring the energy, right? The guy that should bring the energy, and he ended up doing it tonight, and you brought up, I think this is the lead, is Kuminga. Right? And sometimes he doesn't play as hard as he should, but I think you live with that. And tonight they finally put him in. Sleepy finally puts him in. And he's incredible. And he's the guy that brought the energy after Steph did, right? Because he comes in after he did. And just, it's embarrassing. It's honestly, Sam, it's embarrassing.
We're going to get so much trouble for the Sleepy Steve stuff. People are going to get offended and mad, but whatever.
It's a joke. Like, come on. Yeah. You know,
who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the overwhelming story. I feel like Steph had to bring the energy the entire way through, but you bring it up. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is the one guy in the starting lineup who's not older than dirt, who theoretically should be in his physical prime, and too often than not, he has no motor. You know, everyone loves to kill Kuminga for not having a motor, but he gets benched when he doesn't have a motor. Wiggins, come on, man. It's like you're 28. We know what you're capable of. We saw it in the NBA Finals. I say this not as like a hater. I'm saying this just like I know what he's capable of when his head's engaged in the game. And how many games this season has he been engaged?
I mean, like 2.
Yeah, maybe 3. That's the point.
Maybe
though.
3.
That's the point. We're at game number 21, and no chance it's over 5.
Well, this is a huge problem. I mean, this team has a huge Wiggins, and Clay was bad tonight, and they have a big. I mean, you can say bigger Wiggins problem. I think I lump them both together. It's just it is. Woo, they shot 6 for 25 tonight against the Blazers.
One dude looks like he's physically declined one step too much, and does he accept it? What is he? A lot of pride with Clay. It's ugly when you want to talk about it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look good on his half. The other guy has no excuses. They're looking for him to be kind of the guy to bring themselves forward. And what's going on there? That's kind of the other conversation. You know what? Actually, I'm going to pivot this show.
Okay.
I'm going to bring this up right now because
okay.
Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce discussed this, and I feel like this is the perfect time to discuss it because as much as I want to spend an hour and a half on the Blazers and the Warriors, no one wants to talk about this game. All right, let's talk this over real quick. Here's Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce discussing the Warriors' problems on KG Certified.
The Warriors. Yeah, are you worried? And if so, what is your level of worry, number-wise? 1 to 10.
Right now, currently, I'm worried. It's like an 8. Wow. Yeah, because for the simple fact.
That's major, Pete.
Yeah, that's major. Well, the mistakes actually, the Golden State, it's on them, but it's on the players that they brought in. Like, think about this. Like, right now, with that core, if Wiseman had turned into what they needed him to turn into, Jordan Poole, Kuminga.
Kuminga and Wiggins was part of that.
And Wiggins, they supposed to keep the dynasty going. Mm-hmm. But they didn't pan out like they thought they would because no way it should be all this stuff talked about Klay Thompson when you brought Wiggins in to, eventually take on that type of Klay Thompson role to take the pressure off of him to where he don't have to, as he gets older and the miles under his belt, dealing with the injuries, dealing with the long playoff runs. Wiggins supposed to be giving you what Klay giving you now to where Klay could kind of take a step back and be like the third wheel. You know what I'm saying?
So Klay Thompson was a great two-way player.
Yeah.
And I thought at first his defense was ahead of his scoring. Then he became a dynamic scorer who can still defend. Wiggins, I'm not calling him that dynamic scorer, but he was definitely supposed to step in and take the burden of whoever's the best guard of the night. If they playing Luka, Klay, go play somebody else. Wiggins will take Luka, right? All the tough matchup.
Yeah.
And he hasn't panned out, P.
Dealing with the injuries, the miles, all that he's been through. That's why they brought a Wiggins in. But Wiggins ain't took that challenge to where I need to be the second in charge behind Curry to where Wiggins should be out there giving you 20, 25 a night at this stage because he's young legs. He's still athletic. He ain't got the same miles as these other guys. And he ain't stepped up.
What do you
I don't think I disagree with a single word, which is.
No. I think guys who've been the man for an extended period of time, there's a little perspective that relates more to Clay than those other guys. But it's true. You would think Wiggins is older than he is. He's 28 years old. This should be. You remember what Steph did at 28?
Those were the good old days.
2016.
Those were the good old days.
You know who Clay was at 2000 or at 28? That's the 2018-2019 season where I think he was the best he was before the injuries hit. I'm not comparing him one-to-one, but that should be an athlete's prime, right? That should be the athlete's absolute prime the entire way through. And whether you agree or disagree with every move the Warriors have made across the second half of the dynasty, and I know we all don't agree with all of them, I think it's a little unfair to just come out of this and be like, what's wrong with Clay? What do you think, dude? He's 30. He's almost 34 off 2 surgically repaired legs.
Well, he's the guy that's mentally not bought in to that point. I think the Wiggins point is very clear. I agree with all of it. But Clay's not. I mean, Clay's bitching and moaning. I mean, it's his fault too. Like he shot a shot in crunch time tonight where he caught the ball falling out of bounds and chucks a 28-footer, and I'm just like, well, yeah, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here, right? But I mean, honestly, he probably shouldn't even have closed tonight. Probably should have been Moody, but I get it from Sleepy's perspective. But they win the game. But hey, Sam, let me ask you this, because on Wiggins, because I cannot believe I'm the guy that's kind of liking him more. But you do agree with me, he is their best wing defender by far. The Warriors kind of have nothing. Even when Wiggins is bad, I don't think he's a great defender right now, but he is kind of all they have out there. GP's hurt. Josh brings up GP. GP's hurt. He's always hurt. Like, he's not. He doesn't count, right? Wiggins is that's it. That's all they got.
He has the highest ceiling on the wing defensively from them, no doubt about it. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. 3 for 12 with no energy on it. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough from Wiggins tonight. You know, he had a spurt there in the first quarter where he shoots like a pull-up 12-footer. And he bricks it, and Fitz is like, "That's a great offense." And I'm just like, "Oh man, what are we doing here? Do we have to do this? I mean, some of the shots he throws up have no chance. It's pretty disgusting."
Yeah. I mean, in general, they won. They had to get a win out of this game, but I'm sitting here frustrated in general. And okay, let's pivot to Jonathan Kuminga then.
Yes, please.
Let's talk Jonathan Kuminga. Didn't play in the first part of the game, first half of the game.
31.
Responded with a nice second half.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it.
You know, sometimes it's good to. I'm going to take the optimistic perspective. Sometimes it's good these things happen because it wasn't so long ago that Moses Moody was benched against the Sacramento Kings. And people that aren't Warriors fans like you and I, we notice everything. Our listeners notice everything. They're the best, right? So everybody's noticed forever now that Steve Kerr is not going to play these young guys. But all of a sudden, big time. So all of a sudden, you get KOC, friend of the show, Kevin O'Connor on the Ringer. You know, he's talking about how Moses Moody, Zach Lowe's talking about how Moses Moody needs to play. That's on ESPN, right? Sam, you see that, right? That's huge. Yeah. I mean, that's huge in terms of like they're calling out Steve Kerr. And now you see Moses Moody. He's in the rotation. Tonight he plays 26 minutes. I mean, he's going to play 20, 25 each game. Tonight, I think kind of felt like that, where I think Steve is going to get eviscerated. Like, this was pathetic from him tonight. I thought it was pathetic the last game. I thought he should have closed. He played 16 minutes against a Clippers team that the Warriors couldn't defend. Not to say that Kuminga is an amazing defender, but at least he gives them size. And tonight, it was absolute. Because here's the thing. If the Warriors were up 15-20, which honestly, if Wiggins and Clay and Loon and those guys played better and Steph if they played better, they would have been up 20. I think you and I would have sat here like, whatever, fine. You know what I mean? This is Steve. But the fact that they went down 14 points, 12 points repeatedly and left him no choice but to put Kuminga, and then Kuminga responds with that. My final take on this, Steve, you didn't motivate him to play better. You're just stunning his growth. It's pathetic. Enough, man.
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. Where I'm sitting here and I'm going, this is a flawed roster. I'm not convinced there's any button Steve can hit that's going to turn them into a contender.
Sure.
So you have to take the view, we're not winning a title as presently constructed, so I'm going to coach this team to get us to the trade deadline, and hopefully a move will be made to make the team better. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. Or I just got to look at this team as, you know what? We're not contending for anything unless Jonathan Kuminga gets better. And I think that's where you and I are at on this. Like, whether he will or he won't is irrelevant. It's not happening with 8'6" guards. Like, sorry, it's not. I'm the biggest Podziemski fan, and I'm going to be delusional about how good I think he is. But, like, they're not getting there with 4 or 5, 6'3" guys playing at the same time. Invest your time into the guy who has the physical tools to potentially get there. And by the way, he's shown enough feel. Like, he's the reason he's an interesting prospect is like you see just enough to make you like, ooh, maybe, and then it's classic like tease, right?
Just enough. You think Shadon Sharp? It's kind of out of the blue here, but I'm trying to make a point. You think Shadon Sharp is a better prospect than Jonathan Kuminga?
No.
Do you think he's a better player than him right now?
I think he's a more confident player who knows he gets to play 30 minutes a game without being pulled at all times.
You'd rather have Jonathan Kuminga than Shadon Sharp?
I think the Portland Trailblazers rather have Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was trying to get you. I thought maybe you'd hedge a little bit. I like
Shaden Sharp.
Yeah,
but he's
wow.
I don't know, man. I feel like Kuminga, give me 3 inches taller, similar skill set. Just give him the opportunity. This guy has. He's shown way too many things over the last 2 years that doesn't make me intrigued to watch him play more. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
I'm not saying he's a perfect player. I'm not saying we're not going to walk away from it being like, it's a mess. But one of those dudes is being pulled every time they miss a rotation, and the other dude just gets to vibe for 40 minutes a game.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd rather have Kuminga, but the process is correct, right? It's just, I mean, like, look at what Kuminga
I'd rather have Brandon Podziemski than both of them. Being honest, my friend.
I mean, maybe Podziemski and Scoot Henderson is the question that you're going for there, actually, considering what we watched tonight. Still early in the careers of both guards. Scoot's been hurt a little bit, but I can't lie. I don't watch many Blazers games. I don't have a Scoot take. But it's rough. It's rough for Kuminga, right? I think that's the point we're getting at. Is it's for him specifically, and you're higher than him than me, but for him to just sit on the bench. I know Fitz pointed out that Steph kind of went to him and tried to dap him up a little bit in the first half. Because I'm sure Kuminga knew he wasn't really going to play tonight. I'm sure he was told that he wasn't going to play much. And it's hard. It's hard, especially sitting there when the team stinks. You know, like we're not sitting here like the Warriors win by 20 and we're sitting here kind of annoyed. Like they barely beat a team that's going to have a top 5 pick at home. and Kuminga's sitting there on the bench and he's not getting to play. It's I feel bad for him. I don't know. None of that matters. It's a business, but I feel bad for him. It can't be mentally good for him.
I'm just watching the Warriors and I'm sitting here. I'm going, I get it if the older guys are performing, but they're not. And the younger guys aren't developing. So it just feels like mess is the best way to put it. You know, like it feels like we're just all waiting for Steph to just make noise and then they can go away. And by the way, I agree with Nate Duncan, and this is a point that I've felt since preseason. Nate throws out the Warriors' highest upside lineup is Curry, Clay, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond. Yeah. I mean, physically that matches a proper death lineup, proper like Steph in the wings who can switch everything. And that's why I'm kind of been so invested in Kuminga the whole way through. They don't have enough athleticism and size on the wings.
Yep.
Like, I get it. He's not prime Iguodala. He's not even prime Harrison Barnes at this stage. But like getting him to that level is all that matters because you're not winning a title with the Steph, Podziemski, GP2, Corey Joseph, Draymond lineup. You know
CP3, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Too many small guys, right? Like invest in the players who matter in those situations. So.
I agree. And roll back the pod. You brought that lineup up like 3 months ago, right? So it worked tonight. I like I said earlier, I think that's the lineup that should have closed. All right.
Anyway, let's get to next segment. The Under Armour matchup of the week is coming on Friday. The Warriors will play the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Let's go.
I don't know if I'm excited for this. No, I'm going to be excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. Because let's be honest, the Warriors beat the Thunder early in the season with that Steph layup finish over Lou Dort and Chet Holmgren. You and I are ready to claim title because Steph's that good. In-season tournament in OKC. Honestly, that was a ridiculous finish. And then, times turn. And they lose two of the more frustrating games of the season to the Oklahoma City Thunder at Chase. And so now they're going back to Oklahoma City. And not only is this probably one of the most fun teams in the NBA to watch, but like kind of a must win for the Warriors in many ways.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It kind of is. You're down 1-2 on the season series. Also, like, you can't just keep giving games away. You've proven you can beat this team, whether you close them or not. They're a good team. They're a damn good team. But you've proven you can hang with them. Close this game. I think it's a huge matchup. I think they have the ability to. And, like, as good as OKC is, not a lot of depth. And they're not that big. The Warriors can play their, smaller lineups against OKC and hang.
Yeah, this is an incredible matchup. The Chet Draymond is going to be fun. It's going to be fun seeing what Steve Kerr is going to do with the rotations. He's basically talking post game now about how he's going to have to change it up game to game. I think it's pretty clear that Looney can't be starting games anymore. I think is pretty obvious at this point. Love to see what Steph has for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA basically a post on IG a reel of him just roasting Clay on defense the last time they played, right? So I imagine Steph is going to be hopped up to play that game. Wiggins against SGA. Like the Warriors have got a full team this time, right? And OKC's got a full team. So Sam, this is kind of like the game. This is kind of like the most exciting Warriors game that we've seen in weeks, and for me. This is the one that I've circled to where you said 1 and 2, right? I think the OKC has at least 1 and 2 this season. Warriors got to find a way to beat good teams. They've had a tough schedule, and they haven't beat good teams this season. So they've got to find a way to win this one. All right, so this is Steph's 11th signature shoe. Steph's in the second decade of his sneaker career. Take these kicks with you when you leave the scrimmage. Rep UA wherever you go. Do your thing. Change the game. The Curry 11 Future Curry is available now at currybrand.com.
Nice. Let's move forward a little bit.
Do you want me to do the rest or
do one of them?
Okay. This week's Light Yours podcast is brought to you by Sleeper Fantasy, baby. So tonight, if you had taken Curry over on points, rebounds, you're winning that. With if you're gonna throw Kuminga in there tonight, maybe you get that win. But again, you on Friday night, I think that's an easy one to pick. Steph, he's gonna be ready to go at OKC. So if you think you know basketball, then try to turn your basketball knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app. Pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 100x your money if your picks win. Use promo code LIGHTYEARS, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
I want to go back to the KG Paul Pierce thing just for a quick thing.
Solution to all this, B. Did you break this up?
You got to make a trade, bro.
And 2,
you got to make a trade.
It's too heavy on Steph.
I still believe in Steph.
I believe in
Draymond that you can still build around them if you put the right pieces. that they can win a championship, but you got to make some moves. As currently constructed, this team is barely a playoff team.
I know this team is not a playoff team
It's not a playoff team.
at all.
Well, a play-in team.
No, not at all.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I'm just watching teams get better.
That hurts. But also, I don't know if I disagree with them right now. I'm not seeing better. And so I want to ask you, Andy, because I thought about this one for a while. They won the title in 2022. We're less than 2 years removed from that.
Where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the question? So my question for you is, why can't they recreate it? Because they don't have the same team they had in 2022, but they have enough parts. Like, I know you're not going to be like, they miss Otto Porter. That's it. You know, like what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'll give my answer, but I want to ask you, because they did win a title with the same core pieces for the most part here. What has changed from 2022? Because we've never really talked about it in just that clear lenses.
That's very true. I have it. Do you want me to go first? I think
yes.
I think the league got better, man. I think that's it. The league got better. These young guys, they grew up. We can go down the list, right? So Minnesota, they've got the best record in the NBA right now. And I know we make fun. Massive. He's going up to be a superstar. OKC, we just talked about it. SGA is a superstar. It's going to be amazing, right? You just keep going down the list, right? Even Devin Booker and the Suns, right? Devin Booker is a certified superstar, and I'm kind of throwing superstar around, but you get what I'm saying.
Sure.
Just all these teams are so good now, and I'm not saying like the Warriors got lucky. Like they were the best team that season. They were the best team from the
asterisk. Andy's putting the asterisk on.
But it's been 2 years, and these younger guys that go from 23 years old to 25, they're just better, man. And they're caught up. The Warriors are slower. And then the second thing and the final thing for me is nothing's changed. I mean, we see it every night. We see it with Steve Kerr's system. Like, nothing's changed, right? It's just the same shit. Steph and Clay's running off screens. He's never open. Like, I don't know, man. Like, sometimes it feels like you can put a G League team on there and they can guard this motion offense. It's just the same stuff. So, but mostly it's like, I mean, it's just, I'm watching, like, you know, Chet. Like, Chet's good. They're going to play Chet on Friday, and Chet's going to hang, 22 and 15 on him, right? And it's just, these teams are very good now. So that's what I got.
I'll disagree with you. I think there's a few other things to call out. I think Paul Pierce and KG are correct. I think the idea was always Poole, Wiggins, Kuminga, Wiseman would get better and alleviate pressure. And it's not that they become the new core, but they get better. And none of it happened. In Wiseman's case, it's just gone. In Kuminga's case, we'll still be debating whether it's the coaching staff's fault or he's just not that good for the next 2 months. But, the point is he hasn't taken a step. More importantly, though, the two players who actually made an impact in the playoffs, Jordan Poole, I think it's easy to forget how fucking good he was. I think it's easy to forget that dude was an efficient machine as a scorer for this team. He threw up 18 points, 50, 40, 90 in the playoffs. And he had some huge games down that stretch. He's gone, and he was, quite frankly, subpar all of last year. And then in Wiggins' case, he's always been like the most gifted wing athlete. In the playoffs, he played up to his potential, started, guarding Tatum, doing all that stuff. It's never happened. So I think it's a little of everything. I think it's opponents getting better. I think it's the Warriors players getting worse. And then, I left out the obvious thing, which is Clay's probably worse than he was then. He looks worse.
Those two guys. You remember when Pooling and Wiggins were after and this is not a bad thing. But remember when they won the championship and they were just like, "We're gonna get paid." No, you're gonna get paid, right? Those guys. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a bad thing. Those guys got paid. They got paid a lot of money, and they deserve it. Especially in today's NBA, everyone's getting paid. But
it's pretty bad. I don't really like feel the need to act like they're special for that. But
yeah. Just Disease more, I think, right, is classic way to kind of describe kind of where this team has gone. And that goes for Draymond too. Certainly goes for Clay. I mean, you could argue the only guy that it hasn't really gone to is Steph, but that's what makes Steph. It's just this is kind of how it goes. You're right. I mean, I forget that Jordan Poole was a Steph light, for 4 months there. And we really never saw it again, which is a little depressing. But they got that done. It kind of shines a light on Kuminga, Moody, because they're still here. And then Pajemski and Chase Jackson Davis are kind of the next guys up, and they look like they can play. Pods played okay again tonight. He's solid, super solid. And maybe TJD gets run now moving forward. They need those guys, Sam. They kind of need those guys to just either play or just be better. Maybe come.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Before I know we want to get to the goons. I got a question for you. When do you think Moses Moody and or Kuminga are just gonna start?
Ooh.
I think it's gonna happen. When do you think it's going to happen?
You mean they replace Clay and Wiggins?
I think Wiggins. I think definitely Looney. I think definitely Looney. Yeah, because she dropped this tweet, and maybe we'll talk about. Maybe that's a springboard for me to ask you. He brings up Moody and Kuminga into the starting lineup for Wiggins and Looney. I think maybe not Wiggins, but maybe not Kuminga. But what do you think? You think they'll make a change at some point?
They should in general. Like, one of my biggest issues with this team is, it's not that it's any one specific person. It's that Steve coaches the team as if it's 2016 when they don't have that kind of hierarchy on the roster. They have what I would consider a bunch of good players, but not a lot of great players. So it should be mix and match. It should be like some nights it's Moses Moody, some nights it's Klay Thompson, some nights it's Jonathan Kuminga, some nights it's Kevon Looney. And it's not like anything more than, just kind of play the matchup, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's he's got to. I mean, I know Steve is kind of saying it right now, but saying stuff and him doing stuff is a large. Yeah. It's proven to be quite a large gap. So
we'll see where they get to.
All right.
Do the read?
Yes, sir. This Light Years podcast is brought to you by Factor. This is one of my favorites. I know this is one of your favorites too. So this holiday season, you might be looking for some nutritious, flavorful meals to fuel you on jam-packed days. I know now that I'm back at work, Sam, I got really no time for anything. So it's where Factor comes in. America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. So they're quick and they're healthy. You'll save time and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. With Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice. They actually offset 100% of their delivery emissions and source 100% renewable electricity for our production sites and offices. So, hey, head to factormeals.com/lightyears50. Use code lightyears50 to get 50% off. That's code lightyears50 at factormeals.com/lightyears50 to get 50% off. Easy.
Nice. We get. So if you want to call in right now.
To the
and
goons.
We'll keep moving. To the goons.
To the goons.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's up, brother?
It's like Andy stole my whole fucking flow with like the starting lineup idea. It's like now I understand why Sam is going bald and like have gray beards now. Like, jeez.
I'm not balding. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Sam is pissed. Yo, you made my night. You just absolutely made my night. Oh my
Look,
god.
gray maybe, but no. The hairline's great.
Is your dad balding or is he not balding, Sam?
No, I'm.
So you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine long term.
Yeah.
That's the same with my dad. He was not balding at like 55. So I was like, okay, I'll make it. Thank goodness, you know.
Anyway,
But yeah, it's all good. But I think what everyone is justifiably upset with Kerr for sure, because I'm not necessarily a guy that is hyped up about like starting and benching and whatnot. I care more about minutes distribution because that's ultimately what matters, especially in the playoffs. And if you don't give guys the appropriate amount of minutes, then what's the point? It's like, just trade them. It's like, you're wasting everyone's time. So it's like, the DMP was insane, especially when the starting lineup is like god awful. It's like, Steve, like, you better change it. It's like, and at some point, it's like, better show me, bro. Otherwise, you're a fucking fraud right now.
yeah,
It's true.
it's fair. All right, Tashan, appreciate you, man.
Steve looks tired.
He does look tired. He looks sleepy. He does look very, very sleepy.
Wake up.
We've pivoted to calling him Sleepy Steve.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We got through here.
Wow.
Just-
You know, these music videos are. I don't do it like this no more.
Nah, I need some
Look at
90s,
So,
90s
what's up,
music.
guys?
What's up, Gio?
Oh, Joe. What's up, brother?
How's it going? Yo, look, CP3, like, I think he stinks for this team. Like, they don't guard him out there. They don't guard him. You have like Stephen Clicks running off screens, getting like top blocked by all these long athletes. And CP3 just standing around playing like cop, like cop Draymond role for no apparent reason. And he's short too. He doesn't do anything out there for you. This project experiment has failed. He should not be in the team by next February. He's done. He should be gone. He should be shipped out. And he's just garbage. That's my take. Honestly, he's just garbage. Also, wait, one last thing, right? Like this whole Steve Kerr, like I think this team needs to at least reach the floor by next February, at least, because like it doesn't make sense to like be the 11th seed by then and then trade for like a Siakam. Like Steve Kerr needs to play the wing, Moody and JK. He needs to figure this out by then. That's my take.
All right. Chris Paul conversation. Thanks, Gio. Let's talk about it for 30
I needed a little music to make like Gio's rant go a little better there. I feel like the music, I think it vibed pretty well right there. I don't know how you feel.
For the listeners, you can also just turn down the stream volume on the bottom left there, because people are saying that they can't hear him. I don't think Chris Paul has been terrible this season. I think the way that Steve trusts him to a fault has been awful. Has just been awful. And I don't know if you can say you could see it coming, but at some point they're gonna have to take away the keys to the car for Steve, because
that's dark. That's dark. It's as we all have family members who are getting older. It's just like time to take the keys away. It's like, oh god. But he took a 6 a.m. Southwest flight, bro. Do you remember the summer when we took the 6 a.m. Southwest flight? Sorry.
Anybody that wakes up that early to take a flight and they're not drunk, yeah, that's how you know they're old. And that's
Relax. I'm catching strays left and right.
6 a.m. You take a 6 a.m. Come on now. The only times I take 7 a.m. flights is when I drink until like 3 or 4, right? So you just go straight to the airport. Like that's the way to do it. I doubt that's what Chris Paul was doing, but
no. It does feel like the lack of fit is getting more and more obvious. And if you want to be a Sleepy Steve apologist, you would say he had to let it happen on the court before he could do it because of the egos.
Sure.
It's possibly true. Anyway.
Never have made the trade. Could, but that's not Steve's fault, right? Because Steph wanted him and Draymond wanted him, so that's
no. It's more complicated. Like,
yeah,
it's all with a little smile. What's up, Sean? What's up, man?
What's up, guys? Yeah, today was kind of frustrating in a sense watching today. Like, I was watching the Timberwolves versus Spurs first on ESPN before the Warriors game, and I was like, yeah, even the Timberwolves were not that good, but they were their process was pretty good. And then I turned the Warriors game and I was like, man, this is rough. Just a lot of stuff today was kind of annoying. Just a lot of our layups just kind of rimming off. Two was just okay. I knew we were gonna win the game. It just took longer than I wanted to, and but I just wanted to say it was really refreshing to see Moody and Kuminga today. I really loved the rim pressure that both of them put on today. It was something we really haven't seen in a long time, and it's getting kind of stale though. I'm kind of worried that we're not going to make it to the trade deadline and still be relevant because I'm counting down the days on my calendar. I'm December 5th, we have to make it 2 more months, and I'm a little worried that we're not going to be able to get our head over water. Because the one last thing I wanted to just say was just watching Shaedon Sharp turn into Michael Jordan against us is just kind of
great.
Is just okay, we can't guard, we're too small and slow, and it was just kind of oh, all these players are getting so lucky against us, but now it's just, oh, we just can't guard anyone.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Just kind of laughing the pain away.
No, you're right. That's kind of how I feel. It's at first you do the Fitz thing where you're just oh, I can't believe that guy's hitting shots. And then when it happens every game, you're kind of
but guys, is this normal? Okay,
maybe we're just those guys.
That freaking Matthias Thybulle shot, that happened at the end, that doesn't go in for other teams. Always against us, that when it cut it to 2 points, or whatever.
Sure.
Or 1 point and then Steph had to hit the dagger. Why does that always happen to us? Every time, that they even Chetty Osman made this bullshit shot against us. It's just, is it just bad defense, or is it
it's what happens when your team is mid though, right? That's just what happens. Teams come in confident. Nobody's scared of the Warriors. Half the battle is some of these teams just coming ready to roll against the Warriors. This wasn't happening when teams were coming in here and the Warriors were the greatest basketball team of all time, 73 wins and all that stuff. Teams would be kind of pissing and shitting, honestly what the Warriors are when the Warriors are choking away 10-point leads. I'm looking at guys just turn the ball over left and right, and
I'm not used to seeing that Paul George shot go in. I'm not used to seeing that go in. That's usually
I'm not used to seeing Isaiah Joe make freaking 7 threes in a row. Yeah. We'll see that again on Friday. It's just these teams are just.
It's rough.
They're confident. They're not scared. They're oh, Clay, he's cooked. Wiggins, he doesn't even try half the time. Let's go. The
coach doesn't even care about the team.
Sure. They're oh, Wiggins is sitting. Kuminga's sitting. I don't got to worry about anything. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of sad. Sad. We're laughing. It's kind of sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
You should have a great meeting.
I can't stop watching the Kuminga alley-oop. That looks.
We play more. It's just fun to watch. Might not actually result in more wins, but I like watching it.
I agree, right? He might not actually be, but man, that is some energy, some juice.
Just play him, man. The alternative is not getting you a title.
People are oh, the crowd sucks. I'm yeah, I'd be fucking booing these guys. They should be booing them, honestly. They shouldn't be cheering these guys. They should be doing a Philly. It should be the Eagles fans are booing the Eagles at halftime on last Sunday. They're 10-1. Philly fans are special. All right, who's
I respect the Philly fans.
I do as well.
Matthew, what's up, brother?
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm like having to remind myself the Warriors actually won the game because it's just so. It's just been been quite a, what is it? Is it a month now? Not quite a month of just they turned the corner down the hill a while ago. It's funny because you think about it, Steve's going to this lineup because he assumed that Clay and Wiggs and Looney are consistent players. But this season, the roster is basically Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and a bunch of streaky shooters. Like, Clay is a streaky shooter now. Wiggins, I don't even know if he's a streaky shooter some days. I mean, I guess he had a few games, so he's like a streaky shooter. It's
good point.
I don't know, man. This is a struggle. It's like
it is.
If they were god awful, then at least I could be like, hey, if they lose, they get a bid pick. But
it's too early. They don't have their pick. It's kind of like we got to ride this out, see if they can make a move, get there. Matthew, appreciate you, man.
They'll ride it out. They'll ride it out. They got no choice. They'll ride it out. Steph's not going.
We also have no choice. So.
I'm saying they've got. We'll be here. We'll be here for y'all, no matter what. You guys know that. Yeah. But I'm just saying they're not gonna give up. They've got Steph, and they've got Steph. He's still good enough. All right, who we got?
Who looks more tired, Sammy or fucking Steve Kerr?
Oh boy.
Sorry, I got the kids at the moment, so it's fucking chaos here at the moment. Nice. I'll give you guys an analogy for someone that watches the game during his daytime. When she'd put up a thing on Twitter, right, talking about when Chris Paul brought the ball. Sorry, I think it was Moody sped up the ball right half the court, and Chris Paul asked for the ball back, and they passed it back. I was like, move the fucking ball, you absolute dickhead. Imagine saying that out loud with 2 children here. Just outstanding. It's great stuff. But anyway, I was just going to say, Andy, because I'm just too depressed about this game tonight too, but I'm just like, I'm like Sammy. I think it's just an bit of an empty win. I think they're going to make some hard conversations about. I agree with someone down the bottom in the chat too. I think Looney, this whole playing every single game, he needs a couple of weeks off. He needs to go to he needs to do something because he looks cooked. I was going to say, like, do we actually believe now, 20 games in, that Mike's got big enough balls to actually address this and actually go, yeah, cool, let's, we got to have an honest conversation. Like, Warriors basketball is chaos, speed. Every time these certain players come in that you guys have talked about for the last hour and a half, everything's slowing down. We look like fucking, my son's got more fucking energy in his bike at the moment. Like, seriously. You know what I mean? Like, he's running up and down more than Wiggins is in the fucking court. You know what I mean? Like, what's his excuse? You know what I mean? Like, but, sorry. What I was going to say.
Hey, I can relate to that.
Exactly right.
I just watched this monster run around all day.
Yeah, exactly right.
Why doesn't Wiggins do that?
Exactly right. Andy, just so I'm not cancelled, how do you pronounce this baseball bloke's name that you're trying to get?
Oh, it's pretty easy. Just Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
would you prefer Warriors the next week, this whole thing comes around, Warriors turn it around, they trade Paul and Kuminga for like a Siakam, they win the title? Or you get your mate Shohei and you make the World Series but you don't win the title? Peace out, boys. Say it easy.
Wow. Andy's not going to answer this, honestly.
That is incredible. Oh, my goodness. I actually have tears in my eyes. I don't know. He put me on the spot. The other day, I tweeted, because somebody asked me, I tweeted, would you rather have, and these are the 3 things, it's Shohei as a Giant because, he's going to sign a 10-year contract, so a decade, or you get Steph's 5th ring, which is basically what he's asking for, or a Niners Super Bowl, of which I've not seen one in my lifetime. So I think of those 3 things, and I have ranked them.
They've won a Super Bowl in your lifetime.
I was 5 years old, Sam. I don't count that. I was 5. I didn't see it. I didn't watch it.
But it wasn't in your lifetime.
Technicality, I wasn't feeling it, Number 1, and people are gonna freaking hate me. I went with the Niners Super Bowl because I haven't seen it. I want to see it. It's the first one. I know. Number 2, I went with Steph in the 5th. I had to. If he wins a 5th, he's a top 3 player, top 2 player of all time. And then number 3, I went with Shohei. It's just, as much as it pains me, and sadly enough, I think those are the 3 in likeliness. Those are the 3 to happen. It's Niners. It's Warriors winning a 5th. I don't think it's going to happen this season, but I think it's more likely than Shohei's had it with the Giants in the next 4 days. So Luke, to answer your question, I will go with Steph and Pascal Siakam in that 5th championship. That's what I will go with.
I do think that's the correct order of most likely.
Yes, it is the correct order of most. Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, the Niners are the best team in football, and the Warriors,
they're the closest. It's an order of who's closest to achieving their goal. Yes.
Yeah. Deep down in my heart, I think that I want Shohei. I think deep down, I think I'd want Shohei for 10 years.
I think you're more just afraid of him being a Dodger.
I said I wouldn't pod for a month if he's a Dodger. That's how painful it is.
I'll leave it alone. I won't say a word. But I do think part of you is like, how am I going to deal with that?
I genuinely don't know how I'm going to deal with it, because it's
if he's a Blue Jay, you're like, I'd really want him on my team, but it's irrelevant.
I would root for Toronto. I would be
he's not going to be a Blue Jay. Sorry.
I don't know why. I don't know what the Blue Jays. I don't know what that Toronto thing is about. I know it's the Angels is the other team, right? So
it feels like leverage.
Yeah, but you could. I don't. Do you use multiple? Do you have to use multiple? The Giants are going to give the highest possible contract. The Giants are going to offer him whatever, like $50 million more than they offered Carlos Correa. $50 million more than anyone else on the market. What do you think they'll do with Shohei? Right, they'll offer almost $100 million if they have to.
That's what makes this whole thing I don't want to say fun, but the intrigue, right? Are we in, or is this a negotiation tactic? But go ahead.
No, I just, I know we're kind of nearing the end here, but I read Buster Olney's and Ken Rosenthal's kind of take yesterday, and their take was, the winter meetings have been kind of a joke. It's 3 days that all the teams